What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to GearBreakerNation.com. I'm Zack, your Traderway, and today I'm going to be talking to you about my top 5 action anime. For my top 5 is Kenichi, The Last Disciple. This anime, of course, also belongs in my action anime list. There's a ton of action in it. It's all about fighting with your fists and your body. Kenichi started out just a little nobody kid who didn't know how to fight. He got pushed around, he got bullied a lot. He runs into this girl. She takes him back to her dojo, which is run by family. They trained him. They don't really train many people at this dojo. They've kind of cut themselves off from the world. They don't really venture out of their dojo. They send this girl to go out and do all their shopping. He does become a good fighter, he becomes decent. And what I like about it is, it's kind of slow and progressive. It's not like he just trained for a couple nights or so and immediately whooped ass right out the get-go. No, even while he was training, and when he left the dojo, went back to school and whatnot, he still got jumped by people and he still got beat up because he still wasn't sure of himself. He wasn't sure if he could take on these guys. And then he goes off on a whim and ends up knocking one of these really tough guys out. And then everybody starts taking a notice in him, and everyone is suddenly gunning for him, which I think is kind of weird and unfair a little bit because, I mean, the kid just knocked out one big guy. Now it's like almost every group in the whole city is gunning for this one kid. It was good. It was intense. It kept me interested with the storyline and the character structures. It's a decent anime. I'll definitely give it a watch. Number 4, Black Lagoon. Black Lagoon has actually been aired on Adult Swim, so it's not that hard to see it, although it is completed. Black Lagoon is about a Japanese businessman who was abducted by this mercenary group called Black Lagoon while on a company cruise. And through his story, you get to see him kind of transform somewhat of a hardened mercenary as they kind of induct him into their group. This anime has tons of gunfights. It's a lot of gunfights in this anime. Bullets are flying in every episode. There's tons of explosions. Quite a few people get killed in this anime. It's extremely intense. It actually does take place in actual cities that actually do exist in the Southern Pacific. So I kind of like that when people actually induct real cities into their stories, into their animes. I think that adds to the substance of the anime itself. As far as the antagonist for that series goes, they're actually pretty cool because it's actually always fighting a mafia group stationed in Russia, which is a group you probably don't want to be fighting because they're extremely bold and intense. That adds a whole lot of room for intense fights. And there are some very dark moments in this anime. When you get to the dark parts, you're gonna know that they're dark when you see them. But it's definitely worth a watch. Number 3, Soul Eater. It's a great anime, tons of action, tons of fighting. If you like, it's also kind of dabbles into the supernatural world just a little bit. It's got this whole school academy structure to it where these students go to train with their weapons. Some people's weapons are scythes, some people's weapons are guns. It's got a really good comedy aspect to it because the whole principal of the school is actually Death himself. It's more of this comedic form of the Grim Reaper, which plays really well into this anime because he keeps you laughing, he keeps you interested in the crazy story. And unfortunately, the anime itself isn't that long. It's good enough to keep you interested through the whole story. It's got a ton of hit points on it. It's good enough to give it a view. Second one, Bleach. Of course, I had to put this in my action anime because Bleach is like 99% action, 1% story. Most people who have seen Bleach will probably tell you that the first season of Bleach was probably the best. Me, being the avid Bleach fan I am, I saw great stuff in every season. I've seen all 366 episodes, I think this is where they left off. And unfortunately, they are not continuing it as far as I know. They are continuing the manga in Japan. Tachikubo has not really given us any insight on whether he's going to continue this anime or not. If I had to pick some great characters from this anime, I love Byakuya. He's probably one of the most stoic and intense characters in there. He's extremely cold-hearted, and anyone who's seen this can probably agree with me on that. Ichigo's kind of on the back nine. He's intense, he fights, but he fights with more instinct than skill. And one thing I like about Bleach is how much the main character gets his ass handed to him while he's actually learning how to fight. So yeah, Bleach really makes it up there for action anime. Number 1, Helsing Ultimate. Now, for any of you who have seen the original Helsing series, you'll know what I'm talking about. For any of you who haven't, I would probably say go watch this first one before you see the Helsing Ultimate, even though Helsing Ultimate does follow the same criteria that the first Helsing does. The only difference here is in Helsing Ultimate, the action is way through the roof, the gore factor is like times 10, and they bring in a little bit more characters, such as the Helsing organization. They bring in so many new different characters, and honestly, they focus a little bit more on the story. It goes a little bit more in depth to the whole war and everything. Helsing Ultimate spans over about 9 or 10 episodes. Honestly, it's a great anime. Watch it. I think that's gonna do it here for my top 5 anime. Leave a comment, like below. Keep the gears turning.